It's 8 p.m. 8 p.m. on a Friday. I have slowly lost my mind over the last week. Last week and a half. Hello, Lord Virus of Nurgle. My lord. 2,100 hours. Indeed. We are live on both YouTube and Instagram. We are painting pink horrors today. We're having a good time. Good evening, Mark. The Lord of Change is nearly finished. It's nearly finished. Hey Warhipster, will you be uploading tutorials on those amazing new Slanesh models you finished? Yes. The Contorted Epitome is getting a video. The Keeper of Secrets is getting a video. The Bloodthirst is getting a video. The Lord of Change is getting a video. The Pink Horrors are getting a video. Plague Bearers are getting a video. All the demons content you could ever wish for is coming soon. Good evening, Philip, on YouTube. Yes, we are live across both. I had fun doing this last time on my birthday. Hello, the hybrid. Yay, says Casey Davison. Well, good. I saw your Lord of Change, Lord Virus and Nurgle. That's so sweet. Thank you very much. That's the second message, not saying that's so sweet that you saw it. Yeah, I'll give you a little... Let me just grab it, because it's nearly there. It's so close. It is so close. Howdy do, Mikey's Wargaming. So for those of you watching on YouTube, there is the Lord of Change in its glory. And for those of you at home on Instagram, here is the Lord of Change so far. It's nearly there. Good evening, Ross. Are you using OBS or do the split screen? I am using OBS, yeah. I'm not perfect at using OBS, but I'm getting there. I'm learning it. I'm slowly learning it. Good evening, Miss K-Legs. How are you? So yes, we're flying. I like to do that with this guy. Look at those wings. Look at those wings. Look at them. So there you go. There's the Lord of Change. The Keeper of Secrets. I mean, I've had it. I honestly don't know. It's Friday today. I know that. The last fortnight has been... It's been quite a lot. We've painted 3 Greater Demons, a Herald of Slanesh, 20 Demonettes, 20 Bloodletters, and tonight we'll be painting 20 Pink Horrors. Well, we won't get all 20 of them done, I'm sure. Just going to do a little bit of work on the Pink Horrors. I would do the Lord of Change live on stream today, but I'm filming that, so I can't. So yeah, we're just going to hang out for a little while. For those of you on Instagram, if you would like to join the stream, you can just shoot a request down the bottom and I will let you in and you can join the conversation, and those on YouTube will be able to hear you. But otherwise, happy Friday, and I should probably get some Pink Horrors, right? I know that they're all behind me. They're hanging out. Honestly, this last fortnight has been quite a journey. Quite a journey indeed. I also finished off the 10 Plague Bearers. That was for the Tale of Many Warhipsters. So there was that as well. There was, you know. I'm excited. I'm excited for Goonhammer. It's going to be a good time. Right, let's grab some Plague Bearers. Ah, Mr. Lord Virus of Nurgle, you are going to join us on the stream. You are more than welcome to join us. Join me. Us? It's just me at the minute. But yes, Plague bearers, not plague bearers, pink horrors. Where are you? There you are. Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm very tired.
Well, considering what you've been knocking out, it's not surprising.
Yeah,
Seriously, I have to ask this.
Go on.
Right? Obviously, you came up with such a format when you fell in love with contrast paints.
Mm-hmm.
What made you decide that all of a sudden you wanted to become a content creator? Because let's be honest, you're a phenomenal artist.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Do you know what it was? It was everybody telling me that contrast paints sucked, and that's what.
Literally that.
Yeah, everyone was telling me that they were rubbish, and I was like, no, they're not. So I decided to make content about them, to try and prove it wrong. And yeah, that's
The thing I find so interesting about it is the fact that, like, you'll take a model, work it from a base coat of, you know, your primer of either grey sear or wraithbone. You will literally use nothing but contrast paints, and then when you want to go up that little extra level, that's when you start incorporating all the other Citadel range paints. That's the thing I find so amazing about how your tutorials work.
Thank you. that's the idea.
I mean, I personally, I can't lay it for shite, if I'm honest. Right, I'm one of the old dry brush. I'm a dry brush highlight guy. I'm open and honest about that. Mainly because when you've got the amount of grey plastic that I've got, it kind of is the quickest way to get stuff painted. You know. Plus, also, I tend to find, you know, I've watched a lot of tutorials over the internet. I've watched yours. I've watched Opus Artist Opus.
Yeah.
I've even watched some of Spen's stuff. But I personally struggle sometimes to see the actual contours of the model.
Yeah.
And because of that, that's why a lot of my paint jobs probably look flat in comparison to yours. But my God, you know, I was watching the Killer Boss and Nash 2 video, and I was just like, the guy is a genius.
Oh, thank you.
I couldn't think of any other way to sum it up, really.
That's very kind of you. Yeah, no, that was something that I used to struggle with, is finding the... Hello, Marco Peronti. Good evening, Don the Paint Guy. You know, something that I used to struggle with as well was finding the edges, finding the contours, when I used to just do classic painting. Because people swear by washes and shades, but they don't show up they don't do what everyone thinks they do, which is they don't immediately show up all of the contours, all of the recesses that you could possibly find, those extra tiny little highlights, which are the ones that that you miss. I think it's the difference between it's like the good example is a Space Marine. And it's, if you edge highlight all the edges of a Space Marine, it looks fine. If you don't do any of the like little tiny square connectors and the little lines in it and all that thing, you don't know what your eye can't see. But it is that you can't see if you're not highlighting those as well. And there are so many painters out there who, you know, just use shades and base paints and layer paints and this, that, and the other, and they don't do those highlights. And every time I see a picture of it, I go, you're missing those little tiny bits, which just elevate the model up. It's not an extension. It's not a difficult skill. It's just those details don't come up when you don't use contrast. Contrast will always show you where those details are. And you go, there's those extra little grooves and stuff. I can put a highlight on those, and it'll make that leg pop. And like a leg where it's like a Space Marine leg. If you just do the top of the knee, it looks fine. But what I do is, it's not much more. It's the top of the knee, the underside of the knee, and the little square plug next to the knee. And you go, oh, that looks really good. There's not any difference between mine and someone who's just done the top of the knee, except that I've just done those extra few highlights, and that's what really makes it pop. And that's what contrast is so good for. There was a question there about the speed paints. Yes, I have seen the speed paints. I'm very excited to get a hold of the speed paints because I think there's some slightly different tones than the contrast ones, which will make my life even easier and make making tutorials for people even easier because I am very conscious of the fact that sometimes when I'm doing things, it's like, yeah, you have to mix these three to get that tone, and
Okay, then.
yeah, and not and
Seeing as you're talking about speed painting,
yes,
obviously, I'm sure you're probably aware Scale 75 have got their own version of contrast coming out.
yeah.
Are you going to be expanding into that as well?
Everything I've heard about them, the Scale 75 range, is that they're not good enough.
Wow.
And it is just that the contrast effect isn't strong enough, and it gives a very pastel-y finish. So for some things, that's perfect. But for other stuff, I think for the majority of my hobby, I want to try the Scale 75 stuff, because obviously I should, right? But everything I read about them goes, yeah, it's not as strong an effect as contrast paints. It's like a slightly stronger wash paint rather than as vivid as a contrast one. And the speed paints ones look even more vivid than the contrast ones, so maybe there's too much in there, but we'll find out. I should just get both and all three. Well, I've got one of the ranges, but I should get all three and combine them together. Well, not combine them together, but like do a compare and contrast, for lack of a better word, and see them all side by side. Because I'd be very. I want to try the Scale 75 stuff. Definitely. Hi, Daz. And Lamian T says, hey from Germany. Hello from Cheltenham, Gloucester.
Hello from the Garden of Nurgle.
And hello from the Garden of Nurgle.
Yeah, I mean, contrast has its place, definitely, within the hobby. I mean, I've started branching out, trying out different companies. You know, and I look at things like, for example, the orc buildings from Octarius.
Mm.
Now, contrast, you know, if you're going to sit there and do a really quick metal, you could probably, grey sear and then Basilicanum and grey them.
Yeah.
You're going to have a very quick, non-metallic metal-looking silver.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, I've started branching out a little bit. I've come across some other stuff that, knowing how you like to paint, I think you would probably advise using them. At least I hope you would. I mean, have you seen anything about this Dirty Down stuff?
No, I haven't seen that.
Check out a guy called Gobble_INZ on Instagram, and he shows this stuff called Dirty Down Rust, and it's like a water-soluble rust effect, giving paint.
Let's have a look.
And it literally, it just turns any metal looking into proper rusted, corroded.
Oh yeah, that's very cool.
I mean, they do a verdigris as well. So for anyone who doesn't want to use Nihilac oxide, you do have the option of branching out, trying other brands. But I'm finding, just by the little bits of experimentation of trying different stuff, the effects that you can create now because of all these different companies.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
If you can mix them and you can get the perfect, you know, you're going to start elevating what you've painted ridiculously.
Yeah, no, definitely. There is, I think. Good evening, Cheery. Good evening, Matt. Good evening, Kataro. How are you all? There is a lot of people think that for some, I don't understand this. I've never understood this, but a lot of people think that you can only use certain things for certain things, and that's the way it is, and that's the way it always will be. And contrast is one of those. So a lot of people watched all the launch stuff for contrast paints, and they then went, right, that is the only way to use them, is to one thick coat and it'll look perfect. That is not the case.
No.
That is not the case with... Well, that is the case. One thick coat will do it. It just won't look like the heavy metal stuff, which is what people expected.
Yeah.
People expected it's like one pot of paint and you just go, right, so I just get a blob of this Blood Angels red and I get perfect Blood Angels armor. And that's not the case. And it's just not the case. However, this tool just cannot shake... Contrast just cannot shake that perception. It struggles to shake that perception. And that is because people are so stuck in this, it can only be used for this one thing only. It can only be used this way. This tool is meant for this. It's like, there is a myriad of uses for a knife, but ultimately they are all cutting, But it's like, if someone told me that I could only use this on hobby stuff, I would write a letter to GW saying, your hobby knives are terrible because they won't let me open boxes with them.
Yeah.
And that is fundamentally the thing with contrast paint is a tool. Now, because it was on its own, because it was the only one doing it, I get it. People think it's only for that one thing. Now that speed paint exists, now that Scale 75 have done a range, I'm sure once Vallejo and Tamiya do a range as well, people will suddenly start to realise that this is just another form of paint. It is just another form of paint that you can do stuff with. It's like, I think I've said this on the stream, and I might have even said this on the stream before when you were with us, was that if you just used all of the paints ever that exist out there for the purpose that it says that it should be used for, you would seriously struggle painting forever. Like, if you could only use base paints for basing... Do you see? It's weird.
I think a lot of this also comes down to, though, companies like GW actually labelling their paint like that.
Yeah, no, so that there is that. Like, is it the the company does go, yeah, no, it's recommended for this, and yeah, it is recommended for that. What the company, in terms of Games Workshop as the example, what they haven't done particularly well with contrast, I don't think, is they haven't followed through with it. They've just gone, they've just perpetuated that myth. So that's where my stuff's very different, because it goes, no, that's not the only thing that you can use for contrast paint. I'm the same with Juan Hidalgo as well. He is the same as me. We go, no, that's not the only thing you can do with this tool. You can use this tool to elevate your painting, not just rush your painting out. And it's the same thing that I will do with the Army Painter Speed Paint range. I will check it for speed and see if it has tide marks and all that kind of stuff. But I will also do Speed Paint Plus. I guarantee you, because there will be people who will get the speed paints in their hands and they'll go, blah, it's covered in tide marks, it's terrible. And you go, no.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. When you think of the amount of money that some of these kits cost, Kragnos is a prime example. £100 a model.
Yep.
If you turn around and just bought a bunch of contrast paints and think, oh, slap that on and that's the job done, it's gonna get you a tabletop ready mini.
Yeah.
But not gonna look anything like the box art or anything like some of the stuff I've seen you knock out with contrast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I am listening.
Because everybody thinks, oh, it's one thick coat and it's done. One thick coat will give you certain definition. If you want to turn around and elevate that, you've got to be prepared to put the work in.
Yeah, and this is what I find funny. I was just summoning more plague bearers, pink horrors. This is what I find funny is that other paints don't get held to the same standard that contrast paints do. They just don't. Like.
Is that though because GW marketed it the way they did?
Yes, that is entirely the way it is. The community, this community, famously just can't let anything go. Like
yeah,
ever.
I mean, you've only got to look at the vampires or Cursed City. Cursed City was the big one, I think.
Yeah, they're going to be. That is going to be used as a stick to beat them with forever and ever. Warhammer Dad on YouTube says, I've never managed to use Nihilakh Oxide in a way that made me happy. I was shocked to see you paint cloaks with it. Oh, I know, right? On those spoopy ghost admechs. It absolutely works.
Nihilakh Oxide is a cape colour. Interesting.
Yeah. If you check out my how to speed paint admech, I use Nihilakh Oxide over Corax White to get a spoopy ghost-like cloak. DD Lion X, I think that's how you say it. It says, how about War Paint's Antithesis? I picked up some of those this week. I've never heard of that. Matt Neve asks the pertinent question about contrast paints. Do you think it's because people see it as cheating or low skill? Yeah, there is a degree of people see it as cheating and low skill. I fire right back at those people and say, why isn't airbrushing cheating or low skill?
See, that was an argument that did come up when contrast came out. Someone did say to me, it's cheating, long live the airbrush. And I'm like, yeah, but if you haven't got the money for an airbrush, at the end of the day, contrast, well, you can do what you can achieve with an airbrush if you've got the time and patience for it. You can achieve anything as long as you're prepared to put the work in.
Yeah, I think airbrushes, personally, to me, airbrushes are cheating. I think that because I think if I choose to paint a brush with paint a tank with a brush, everyone else should have to do it. Because that's how I like to paint, right? I like to paint with brushes, right? But blending as a skill.
Yeah, definitely.
Blending as a skill is a lot hard. The hardest way to blend with a brush is with base and layer paints. No question of it. There's the masterclass on Warhammer Plus about glazing. You're doing a lot of blending and glazing in that. That is the pinnacle of the skill of blending. Second one down from that, blending with contrast paints, because you've got to worry out. You've got to watch out for tide marks, right? But that's it. Otherwise, blending with contrast paints is pretty easy. Blending with an airbrush, probably the easiest way to learn how to blend.
I believe you said in one of your videos about how contrast is a water resistant type paint, and that if you don't get it all on in the one application at the time you're doing it, when it starts drying on the second application, you're going to have differentials in the way it's dried. Yeah.
You could say dry brushing is a poor man's airbrush, but I like it better and I get near the same results. Yeah, no, well, so dry brushing, the pinnacle of dry brushing is so much harder than anything else. Dry brushing is a skill for everyone. Everyone can dry brush. But for people who can get the really smooth circular dry brush zenithal priming aspect of it, I see people prime stuff black and then we're just going to dry brush the zenithal on, and I'm like, are you mad? That's crazy. That is crazy. That is an incredible skill. That is a really high skill level to get that. So being a great dry brusher, I would still put it above. I would still put it above airbrushing to me.
I gotta say, I got a set of the Series D as a birthday present. A year ago? And I gotta say that the way that Artist Opus taught dry brushing with that does make a very different stance as to how your traditional dry brushing is taught, because obviously everyone's always go side to side.
Yeah.
Whereas because of the way they developed their brushes, because they made them rounds, doing all that corner blending and all that, just made it so much better.
Yeah, 100%, completely agree. And like, so yeah, I like to go back to what you were saying, Matt, like the people do see contrast paint as cheating, and for some reason that's a stick to beat it with, which is just not fair, because everything can be seen as cheating to someone with a different perspective on things. We've just got a few more messages, so where I resent that, and I'm going straight to Twitter to express my indignation, says Chewy. That's exactly right. Oh my goodness, Cursed City, I forgot about that, says Matt. Yep. yeah. Now you've remembered, you can go to Twitter and tell everybody about how terrible GW were about it. Which, to be fair, it's a legitimate grievance, I think. I think it's the only one in the past sort of 6 to 8 months that I've gone, yeah, sure, fair enough.
The thing that made me laugh was that they had stated originally they were going to support it and all this, and then obviously because of how COVID and Brexit came in and it all completely kiboshed GW's plans for Curse City, they then pulled the rug very quickly and went, we're not going to support this. All they had to do, right, was introduce new bad guys in the form of like the rest of the Soulblight. You could have had them, and you could have been sitting there playing campaigns of Curse City for months.
Yeah, probably.
All they have to do is literally make those characters, give them Curse City stat cards, and you're laughing. You don't need much.
Yeah.
Unless you start introducing chaos and whatever.
Mikey's Wargaming says using the I use the Series D, they are great, and using the moisture pot also. Yeah, it's revolutionary for dry brushing. Because
Mikey's Wargaming is I've seen his Dark Elder and I just died.
They are fantastic.
I love them.
They are fantastic. The Hybrid on YouTube says currently painting Admech on snow bases. Think I may have made a mistake deciding on snow bases, but back to my question: should I glue them to the base prior to the snow or after, in your opinion? I think when applying snow, arguably, you want to have the miniature on the base because you don't want everybody to walking through a snowy tundra and they haven't got any snow on them.
What snow is this gentleman using?
It does depend. Yeah, that was a great question. What snow are you using, the Hybrid? DD Lion X says, sorry, it's Warcolors Antithesis. I always get them and War Paints confused. Faux Hammer and Taylor Painters did a review, if you Google it. Basically, they're gel-based. Interesting. 50-50 with water or medium though, and they have fantastic high saturation colours. I will have an investigate. Warhammer Dad says, I struggled with contrast at the start, and then I watched your videos and went back 4 months later and started again. The issue is the painting team at GW did not buy into the philosophy. I agree. Definitely Warhammer Dad.
Well, Duncan Rhodes left over it, didn't he? Which is what set up the painting academy.
Yeah, I think he left because they changed tack. Is my understanding. Like they stopped doing the big kits and were doing a lot more of the small techniques. So I think one of the ones was funnily enough, it was the Keeper of Secrets. There is still not a Keeper of Secrets video from Games Workshop.
Funny that.
Yeah. DD Linex says, when people say contrast is low skill, I point them at you or every contrast or alchemist painting or fantastic contrast painters. Alchemist painting is another one. I always forget to mention alchemist painting. Yeah, no, it's exactly right. Mike's Warming says, learned loads from Warhipster with contrasting. Good. That's what I'm here for. I'm just going to grab a paint. I'm going to grab some, funnily enough, Volupus Pink for my pink horrors.
Gotta love some Volupus.
I do enjoy it as a colour.
I think it's actually one of the very few colours that I can actually go, this is a go-to paint for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a wonderful colour for doing insides of mouths.
Yeah.
It's,
I think it's wonderful. I love Volupus Pink. My pot is nearing the end though, so I do have to use a little bit more medium than I would normally, just to make sure it makes it through. I do have a spare in stock, but I haven't opened it yet because I'm trying to be good and just use up my paints rather than constantly doing what I do, which is go like, oh, it's getting a bit low now. I buy a new one.
How many times have we all been guilty of that?
Very many. The amount of pots of Nolan oil I threw out about 2 years ago was exactly like that. Having to duck out, unfortunately, but have a good evening, or we'll catch you next time. Thanks for dropping by, Ross. Thank you so much.
Here's one for you.
Go on.
How would you attempt to do a split skin colour? Kind of like what they done for the Great White Squig. You know, so you've got like a paler underbelly but with a more vibrant colour over the top, and it then fades in together.
Yeah, so the way to do that with contrast is to start with the pale colour, get that all over, and then once it's all over, start applying the new colour. And then basically what you do, because I actually have done quite a bit of this on these demons that I've been doing.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of like blending into purple on the Keeper of Secrets, for example, and you know the Lord of Change is exactly the same. There's so much blending on it. It is kind of a case of start with the pale color, then like move it down. Once all the pale color is on, then you can quite easily apply the darker color, and then once you've got the darker color on up to the point of where you're going to do the transition, you basically wash the brush, and then you just use a clean brush to kind of sort of stipple away at where the transition happens to kind of soften out that contrast transition, rather than trying to do the two colors at the same time. You could do the two colors at the same time, but if you do that, you are opening yourself up to mistakes and taking more time to get things done. And what you don't want when you're painting with two different contrast paints at the same time is using two colors at the same time to get things done on quite large surface areas. So that's how I do it. I start with the pale color and then move it through. So I do have the Great White Squig in stock to do, I believe. I mean, Adam is here. He'll tell me if he wants it as a Great White Squig or as a Great Red Squig. But yeah, that is the plan. I have seen a really good paint job of it from my friend Meg, who did it as a tiger shark, and it looks freaking awesome.
Vincent Ventrella done one of them as well.
Yeah. And I might copy that a little bit, because I think it just looks awesome as a...
The tiger squigs do look nice. I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I'd love to see one of them done for something like a kill rig.
Well, yeah, we've got a kill rig to do as well. Got that in stock too.
The giant squig that pulls you at the front is a massive tiger squig. That'd be funny.
That'd be quite a lot. That would be quite a lot to handle.
But it'd be quite a challenge as well for painters in general, I think, because it is quite a big bit of plastic from what I've seen.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it's huge. Like I said, I've got one in box, and it is just enormous.
I might need some guidance from you in the coming weeks, actually.
Oh yeah.
I have procured a Troggoth hag.
Okay.
And I quite fancy trying to do a very swampy looking Troggoth. And I'll be honest, when it comes to contrast, not sure which colours to go for and whatnot. But that's something I'll message you about privately.
Sure, no, happily lend a hand. Got some messages on the YouTubes. Mr. Gloomspite Noob is here. Hello, Mr. Gloomspite Noob. We've also got Hybrid says it's a baking soda, glue, and white paint mix. Sprinkling on afterwards for a light dusting, clear coating to avoid yellowing. Very cool.
Yeah. Bicarb soda and PVA glue generally is quite a nice mix for making snow, I found.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's cheap. It's cheaper than Valhalla and Blizzard.
Well, yeah. Yeah, no, I think if you're going to be using that, you should really have the model glued down to the base. And that is just because if there is a little bit of snow kicked up onto the guys that are in the snowy battlefield, it is more realistic. Like, I used to have a friend who used to do snow bases, and he also used to do cork. He used to break up some cork, and he used to have all of his models standing on the cork, and then all of the cork would be surrounded by snow, and it made all of the models look like they were surfboarding through a snowy tundra on some rock they brought with them. And he just couldn't understand why. I was like, just put some snow on the rock. Just put some snow on the rock. It'll make it look like it's part of the scene. Because it just didn't look like it was part of the scene. When it was like that. So DD Line X says, I expect Duncan left because surprise striking it out on your own is more lucrative than working for GWC. His two thin coats. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. He will have realised that he could have made a huge amount of money, and get like in Duncan's case, Games Workshop just couldn't afford to pay him what he's making now from what he's doing. There's just no way. Like, his salary would be exorbitant. I wouldn't pay someone that much to make videos for my business. And yeah, I mean, it is a gamble. People might have gone, nah, I'm alright. I don't want to pay for the content that I've had free for so many years. Just he had achieved meme status, so he was alright. Duncan is just printing money now, says Mikey's Wargaming. Yeah, pretty much is, yeah. Maybe I should get him to subscribe to my Patreon. Pink horrors. Oh, you are so pink. I don't know if I mentioned this, by the way. This first coat, for those of you watching on YouTube, this was a roughly 4 parts contrast medium to 1 part volupus pink to get that pinky, that bright pink that we've got there, which looks fantastic. Even if I do say so myself. Jennifer says, "Hey Cass." Is that to you?
Possibly. But yeah, I think that a lot of what we're now spoiled for choice when it comes to paint.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter whether contrast is it doesn't matter whether it's like the good stuff or the bad stuff. It's all about each individual person's skill.
Yeah, and preference and availability and all of that. Like I get asked a lot what brushes I use, and the brushes I use the most are GW brushes, and that is not because I think they're the greatest brushes of all time. They're good brushes. They're not the best brushes ever made by a long stretch. The reason I use Games Workshop brushes is because Games Workshop brushes are very easy to get hold of.
So, when you say you use GW brushes, is it GW standard or the new synthetic range?
I've used some of the synthetics. Yeah, I think in general, getting stuff from Games Workshop is just easier than it is from anywhere else. You can see and feel the products way more easier than you can like the majority of something like the Army Painter range, for example. Not everywhere stocks a full Army Painter range.
Yeah.
Like some people might stock some of the tufts, and you might think that that Army Painter makes like 2 or 3 packs of tufts. They don't. They make 4,000 packs of tufts. There's so many different options from the Army Painter for tufts, but nowhere stocks all of them. They'd be mad to, because there's so many products. Whereas Games Workshop, you can pretty much guarantee that every Games Workshop product, to a certain extent, not every model, but to a certain extent, every hobby product will be available in the store when you go in. So if on a day you suddenly go, I can't work with this medium layer brush anymore, it's not easy to find in certain places, like I live in Cheltenham, for example, it's not easy to find a place that I could just go, I need a new detail brush because I've just ruined my my Artist Opus brush. I know, I'll just go to X. I have to order that in. And like for me, as somebody who, you know, I'm trying to be a full-time YouTuber, content creator, commission painter, actor, writer, director, all that kind of thing. As somebody who's trying to do that full-time, if I was to accidentally dip my Series M size 000 in super glue, right? That's it. I've ruined that brush. There's no rescuing that brush. So if I want to replace that brush on the day, I can't do it. There is not a stockist in Cheltenham that has them. So I have to order that in. So, that is a piece of kit that I use, obviously, that you can't just get everywhere. But, you know, I paint all day, every day, right? So I get through, you know, medium and small layer brushes like there's no tomorrow. And it doesn't matter what brand I go for, I'm always going to get through them. Always. Like, you know, they just will, every brush eventually disintegrates at some point. Like, every time you kind of wash it a couple of times, you will eventually pull out a couple of bristles here or there. And like the good brushes, it takes a little longer to do it, but they will eventually pull out. So like, yeah, using Games Workshop brushes is something that I do because, one, I think most people have access to a Games Workshop. Two, they're the easiest to get hold of by far. They're rarely ever out of stock of brushes. And, you know, three, you know, that when you then start going, well, if you get through paint brushes quite a lot, or you need, you know, additional paint brushes or whatever, Games Workshop is cheap in comparison to the good brush makers. So yeah, there you go. That's my TED talk on brushes.
No, makes total sense, to be fair.
That's why local small shops are more expensive, easier accessibility. Yeah.
I mean, I think, you know, you've made quite a bold choice to try and make a living just from doing videos on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know what goes into that, other than obviously you've got to sit there and paint for hours.
Yeah, followed by hours of editing. I mean, I'm betting on myself with it, you know. That's why I'm doing it. Like, I believe that I can be successful at this. So I'm gonna try, you know.
Yeah. And to be fair, every video I've ever seen that you've done, I've always turned around and gone, you know what, I want to try.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a new member. Thank you, Bartos Norman. I hope I've said that right. Thank you so much for becoming a member on YouTube. No, I really appreciate it. Welcome to the fold. You should be able to get access to my Discord now, I believe. Should be a link, should be a benefit there for you to be able to come and join the Discord. We're constantly talking about all things Warhammer. / complaining about stuff sometimes where I'm just like, I'm going mad painting this damn load of change. To be fair, I've been quite absent from the Discord the last couple of days because I've just been trying to get the demons finished. But yeah, no, thank you for becoming a member, buddy. Very much. Welcome to the show. We've also got some more things. So maybe I'm a cheapskate, but I can buy a pack of brushes online for a $5 yet to see a compelling argument to splurge on a different brand. Well, there you go. Like, I think there is the only argument I would give in terms of the merits of buying an expensive brush, is that an expensive brush will last a lot longer than a cheaper brush. However, if you don't paint every day, all day, like I do, your brushes will last for a long time if you just take care of them and if you clean them. So like, yeah, one of the best things about the more expensive brushes is they do have that all-important snap back. They do hold their shape a lot better than the cheaper brushes. Cheaper brushes just aren't as tightly bound or whatever. So they do tend to splay out a lot quicker, to the point where the brush kind of becomes not unusable but hard to use. So yeah, I mean, yeah, each to their own. I always used to buy cheap brushes, and then I bought Artist Opus brushes, and I never looked back for my detail work. I do have some army painter brushes for that. They're very good, but you know.
Okay, we've touched on dry brushing. Obviously, you just said about army painter brushes and whatnot. What's your opinion on using makeup brushes for dry brushing?
Yeah, I mean, go for it. Like they are fundamentally what the Artist Opus dry brush series is based on. Is makeup brushes, right? Because makeup brushes are traditionally ball-headed rather than, bladed. So, like, yeah, no, I think if you're gonna, that using makeup brushes is absolutely a good way to do it, because makeup brushes are used for that kind of thing. And makeup brushes, if you are doing dry brushing with them, you really don't have to spend a lot of money to get that sort of Artist Opus style of brush, to see if you like it. And then if you like using that brush for doing the dry brushing, then maybe invest in some Artist Opus brushes for that kind of bit more precision, because makeup brushes don't go as small as the Artist Opus ones do. But yeah, no, I fully endorse it. Fully endorse it.
It's nice to actually sort of get the feedback from somebody who is a content creator who does painting for a living. I mean, I've had so many people tell me that buying the Artist Opus brushes, they're so expensive, and me and my partner, we turned around and done a massive price comparison. We couldn't see what the big, how much is a set of Windsor Series 7 Windsor Newtons.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Like, Artist Opus are in the grand scheme of brushes, they are on the high end, but they're not on the silly high end. Now, I have never used one of those silly, ridiculous, expensive brushes. I've never even seen one in the wild. Like people tell me about like the Siberian Kolinsky, and I'm like, okay, but like I think that I think it's like hi-fi. There is a ceiling to quality. With like again, I'm referencing hi-fi, but like with hi-fi, when you're buying like speakers and stuff, there is a very clear like price jump at certain points. Like you've got your entry level, and they're like 50-60 quid per speaker or whatever. And then you've got the sort of intermediate level, and you've got like 100-200 quid per speaker. And then you've got like your seriously professional grade listening at like 500-600. That's where it starts. The differences between a £500 speaker and a £1,000 speaker, in terms of what you're actually getting in terms of like playback from that speaker, the difference is negligible. Like you can't tell. Like it's at that point. Like, it's like like it'd be like going to buy a 4K TV, and you get there and you go, oh, there's a 4K TV here for for 500 quid, or I could buy this 4.1K TV for 10 grand. Well, that's got to be better, right? Your eye is not going to notice the 0.1, right? And I think that sometimes with you know super expensive paintbrushes, there is going to be a point where you're just going to go, there's not really all that much difference between this and let's say like a broken toad brush or whatever. You know, like it is ultimately it becomes, you know, the justification for buying certain things becomes, you know, how much do you want to spend? Like, do you want to spend that much on a brush? You go ahead and spend that much on a brush.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really matter what brush you use eventually, if at the end of the day, as long as you can get paint on the model with it.
Yeah.
And that's the aim of the game: is painting those paint your minis, and use contrast paints to do it. And watch my tutorials.
Shameless self-plug, but I gotta love it.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta do it. Hipster, have you got any advice on taking good pics of minis? Sometimes I take pics and it just doesn't look the best. Yeah, I think the trick is I have a lot of lights. I think having directional light with that taking pictures of your minis is really important. What I mean by that is, like, if you have an overhead light and you just put your mini down and you take a picture coming in from the side, all the light is falling on top of the model and you're not seeing any of the bottom. I know it sounds simple, but like, it's, you know, that might sound like ridiculous advice, but that's at the point where, like, if you're going to take a picture of a miniature and you've got an overhead light that you do all your hobby under, when you take a picture of the mini, tilt the miniature up so that, like, the more of the miniature gets bathed in light. The other thing is, as well, is don't get too close, because if you get too close, you'll drown out the details and stuff. Stay, you know, like a good couple of inches back. I'm generally like I generally take my pictures of my miniatures from about like 6 to 10 inches, and that's quite a range, but 6 to 10 inches away. I don't go super close up. The cameras on phones these days are so good, you don't need to go really close to see all the details. It's absolutely fine to stay further away. And like, yeah, directional light absolutely helps. And just, yeah, like, take a couple at different angles. One of the best things about photographing miniatures is finding that golden angle. Like, what is the angle it looks good from? The Lord of Change is really hard to photograph because it does not have an angle that it looks good at from. Because it's so weirdly shaped, the Lord of Change. It's like, look, it's like it's striding to the right and it's all leading off to the left. It's just such a weird pose of a model, but you know, it's fine. It's fun to try and get those things. Yeah, and the other thing you can do is just like invest in, like, if you go to Amazon, you can get these like little photography lights. They are what I used to paint under and film all my tutorials under. I've since upgraded my lighting system, but like these little Neewer, I think Neewer, there's a little set of 2 that is really, really good. And you just put one either side of the miniature and then take a picture and you've got a perfectly well lit miniature. I mainly build terrain so brushes aren't high quality because sometimes I use plastic cutlery, says Nava Scroon. Excellent. Chris Clare says, hey man, hello. Chewy says, recently got some Broken Toad, not used them yet though. Also, I do want to try out some Broken Toad stuff. I see a lot of people talking about it. We've also got cheers mate, this is from Bartos, who became a member. Cheers mate, been 17 years since I last played Warhammer. I have to admit, you inspired me to get back into it after all those years. Recently completed a few solo watch custodies using your pattern. Awesome. Welcome back to the hobby, and welcome to the watch. Welcome to the long watch.
This is me just asking a complete random question.
Go on.
But bearing in mind, you do primarily Games Workshop based content.
Yeah.
Have you looked at any of the other gaming systems and gone, you know what, I actually quite fancy making content like painting wise for stuff like maybe Marvel Crisis Protocol, for example?
Yes. Yeah, no, I have. Marvel Crisis Protocol is something that really interests me. So does A Song of Ice and Fire. That really interests me. I think the miniatures are really cool in that. I think they've done a really good job with that game. Star Wars Legion. It's another one I really want to do. The only thing is, the reason I haven't done it is because those games are inherently a lot more expensive than Games Workshop games, believe it or not.
Okay.
Like,
enlighten me, because I found it to be a lot cheaper.
so I often look at it and I go, right, so the starter set for things, I always find is just like, it is too much of a risk. I guess I'm associating a more expensive value to it because it's not a game I'm familiar with. So whilst like in monetary terms, like it might be like a N box of Night Watchman might be cheaper than like a N box of, let's say, Demonettes. I know it's not, but let's say that it is. For me, the risk is, do I even like it? Have I used the miniatures before? Are they gonna? I don't. I have too many. I have too many. Questions around those other things. So at that point, the value that I assign to my money, it becomes more expensive in that way. So like, I will happily spend £85 on a starter set for Warhammer.
Yeah.
Even if something is £75 from a different game, to me it feels more like 150 quid because I'm like, it is a risk because those miniatures might be shit.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I personally have taken the plunge into both Legion and Marvel.
Yeah, so I was looking at the Marvel Crisis stuff and I was like, this is I don't know anything about the game. That's the thing.
Right.
Like, do you need like 2 miniatures to play the game? In which case, yeah, that's a super cheap game. If you need like 7 or 8, it's like, this costs almost the same as much as an army.
Okay, so basically the way Crisis Protocol works is you have a team of 10 heroes or villains, which you can basically mix and match, but generally you're only ever using about 5 models.
Yeah.
Because every game is generated based on something called a threat level. So the threat level is kind of like giving you your points value, so to speak.
Yeah.
So in the core box, which, by the way, you actually nailed the head on the price, you can get it for 75 quid.
Okay.
You get 10 models.
Yeah.
Then you get all the you get the scenery, the dice, and the rule book, and everything you need to play. So you can happily get started on that core box. Then when you go into your additional heroes,
yeah,
it's about £30 for 2. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, if you turn around and think that each of those heroes are individual characters, all well known,
mm-hmm.
they're kind of the equivalent of something like, say, a Primaris Captain.
Yeah.
Right? Now, how much does Games Workshop charge for a Primaris Captain? 25, 30 quid?
£22.50. I know that one off by heart.
Okay, alright, £22.50. Right?
Yeah.
You're getting 2 heroes in a box for 30 quid, which means you're paying 15 quid a hero.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, so like, as a noob, as somebody who doesn't know the game, and I don't have the time to sit and research the game and watch, like all this kind of thing. I'm basically sat at this I'm this point of where it's like, it'll capture my imagination if it captures my imagination. If it doesn't, then it's like, people are telling me really good things about this, and I go, oh, that looks a bit rich for my blood. Like if Captain America as a thing was a tenner, I'd have bought it last week. Do you know what I mean? But like, to me...
No, I get your point. I mean, the thing is, there's like 2 sculpts of Captain America now.
Yeah.
Because they've done the Sam Wilson Falcon version.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they've done. There's a new Iron Man with the Hulkbuster coming out in a couple of weeks. Next week, I think it is.
Well, that'll be like £95. No.
That's $37.50.
Okay. It's chunky as well, isn't it? They are chunky miniatures.
Yeah. I mean, Hulk on his own was 30.
Yeah.
Even MODOK was kind of the same price.
We've got a badge purchase on Instagram. Thank you so much, Michael. So multiple lights at different angles, says Mikey's Wargaming. Are they the ring ones? No, I don't use the ring ones. I use the little photography lights, the little square LED things. The ring lights are good, but ring lights have a different effect on on a subject. So for them you only really need one really good ring light to do a kind of photographing a subject. That's why all the streamers use them, to like really perfectly highlight their faces. Ideally, you'd want quite a small but powerful ring light for doing miniatures. But yes, thank you very much, Loke and Michael, for buying a badge. It really do appreciate it. We've got. I'm aiming to get over on the YouTubes. Chris Clare says, just found your videos recently. Great stuff and much appreciated. Put some into practice and painted a few long-standing greys in the pile of shame. Awesome. Kataro says, more expensive? Yes, I know. Same reaction as you had, buddy. Mr. Nurgle. Lord Nurgle. I should probably call you. I probably shouldn't call you Mr. Nurgle. I should call you Lord Nurgle.
Mr. Nurgle, Lord Nurgle, whatever.
I've been looking at Star Wars Legion for a little while now. I love the clones. Yeah, I love the clones too. I'm aiming to get the Legion Clone Wars starter set before the end of the month. Apparently prices are going up soon. Well, it's just been sold. It's just been bought by someone, hasn't they? The Star Wars Legion and X-Wing.
Star Wars Legion and X-Wing were bought out by Atomic Mass Games a while ago.
Yeah.
We're talking way before COVID, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, because I saw a thing the other day of people complaining that because Atomic Mass is quite small, they, because of COVID, have been hit disproportionately hard by it, and so they've basically said, yeah, we're not making new miniatures for a while because we're still coming back to working, or something like that. I think that was their explanation. I think a lot of people said that's unacceptable. They're going to keep manufacturing the kits, but like the games are, in terms of getting new, fresh support, in terms of like brand new model kits and things like that. Apparently, those game systems are struggling a little bit in terms of, it's been blamed on the pandemic. Mike's Wargame says they are for TikTok. Yeah, no. So I've got a ring light just for all those TikToks that I do. I haven't done any TikToks. I am intending to use it for some videos I've got planned that involve my face being in the video, which I know is what everybody's clamoring to see all the time on my channel. It's the number one comment all the time. Yeah, watching you paint the minis is great, Josh, but can we just see your face? Just want to make sure that you are a living, breathing human being and not somebody who's sacrificing things to the Norse gods in order to be able to achieve such contrast skill. Found some on Amazon. They are square LED with LED with a tripod. Yeah, it should be those. If you just type in Newer, N-E-E-W-E-R, it should be little square ones. Or I'll show you my ones in a second. I'm just going to paint one more pink horror and then I'll show you which ones I've got. Rex is my favourite character, says Chewy0. Rex is an absolute bad man with the thickest plot armour I've ever seen anyone ever in Star Wars.
The funny thing is, I've actually got the clones sat here. I haven't really bothered touching them.
See, they are something that I really want to do, but I also have this decision to make as a content creator.
Right.
It's far more likely that people will watch a video that is about AN New Games Workshop miniature than they will of me painting stormtroopers.
See, the actual market for Legion Marvel Crisis Protocol is actually quite big. There is quite a few people out there who are doing content for it. I mean, Sarastro comes to mind for both Legion and Marvel.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like the audience is definitely there. The audience is nothing compared to the GW audience.
Yeah, that's probably because GW's been around a hell of a lot longer, though.
No, it definitely is. Like Games Workshop has been around for so long that in terms of wargaming, it is the undisputed king. So to be, you know, you've got a mass market appeal as painting a Games Workshop miniature, painting a. And, you know, like, I paint stuff with contrast paint, right? So I'm appealing to a group of people who really want to see how to paint stuff with contrast paint, right? And then I'm also trying to encourage people to come over to the dark side. Pardon the Star Wars reference. But, you know, I'm trying to encourage people to, you know, to use this tool for the maximum potential that it actually has. So I'm already kind of marketing to a certain skill in a certain audience, in a certain audience. I have to weigh up whether or not there is a big enough audience of people wanting to be able to paint Crisis Protocol. Like, how many people currently, right now, are looking up how to paint Captain America with contrast paints versus how many people are looking up how to paint pink horrors with contrast paints?
Yeah, when you put it like that, I see the dilemma you're stuck in.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Sorry, I got some people joining.
It's one of those things that, you know, because I'm me personally, I would kill to have some of your contrast tutorials for doing stuff like the Crisis Protocol figures.
Yeah.
But that's me personally, you know. I'm pretty sure there are a few other people who would quite happily sit there and watch you paint a Hulk or paint MODOK, because he's quite a nice, big, chunky, floating head.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I can see the problem you have, and I can see why you're so hesitant to do so, because at the end of the day, GW is basically your bread and butter.
Yeah, for sure. And like you know, the money that I have is all made from, you know, people supporting me. That's fundamentally it. So like, if I have to make this kind of this horrible decision that I have to make, because, you know, I don't have a war chest or infinite resources. I have to make this horrible decision of, well, if I've got 50 quid to spend this month, or as I say, I've got £100 to spend on hobby stuff for this month, I'd much rather buy Gobsprack, the Mouth of Mork, because more people are going to watch that, than I would buy, you know, the Marvel Crisis Protocol starter set.
No, it's totally understandable. Speaking of Gobsprack, have you actually done him yet?
I've not done him yet. He is sat under my desk, looking at me every day, going, "Please finish the demons."
Are you going to build him as Gobsprack, or are you going to build him as the killer boss?
I'm probably going to build him as Gobsprack. Because
it's just someone sent me something which might make your decision even easier.
Okay.
Did you know that the heads for the Vulture quite happily slot on and off?
Okay.
Meaning that you could do both variations of head, and the same with the Riders. You can basically mount either Gobsprack or the Killer Boss on the same peg.
I see. So you're trying to convince me to sub-assembly and...
No. I'm not trying to convince you to sub-assembly. What I'm trying to say to you is perhaps you could do it so that you could show both, maybe.
Yeah, that's an entire that is possible. If it's easy to do, then I will do it.
Yeah, it's quite easy from what I've seen. Because apparently, where the body joins together for the Vulture and where the Rider sits on, it's a peg, and literally you can hot swap the models quite easily.
Well, that's very cool. Yeah, no, I'll investigate. I haven't built him yet, so yeah, I've been desperately trying to get these demons finished for the Goonhammer Open, which is now only a week away. Gah!
Oh wow!
And I've got 20 pink horrors and a Lord of Change to finish.
Was Bellicor in this lot as well?
Oh yeah, Bellicor's in this lot. Yeah. Oh no, he wasn't. He wasn't painted as part of this. He was painted a while ago. Well, he was painted when he came out, but like, Yeah, he is part of the the hijinks that we're going to be having over that weekend.
Now it's all starting to make a bit more sense.
Yes. I wanted to run it as Disciples of Be'lakor. I did, but Disciples of Be'lakor is rubbish, and well, it's not rubbish. It's just not as good as Slaanesh Demons.
Okay.
So Be'lakor because he's got all 4 demon keywords.
Yeah.
He can go into basically. I think because of a slightly weird rules interaction as how it is at the moment, but like if you put him into a Slaanesh Demons detachment, he gets the Slaanesh Demons benefits of the Locust. He doesn't get the Quicksilver swiftness because it's not part of his rule set, but he does get the benefits of the Locust of Slaanesh. So whilst he is within 6 inches of a herald, he can advance and charge. Because he also gives himself. He also does have the Locust himself, so he basically gives it to himself. But like he can advance and charge in a Slaanesh Demons detachment, which is just so much better than being in a detachment where you can't have any greater demons, you can't have any named characters, and it's -1 to hit more than 12 inches away.
Yeah.
And you have to have equal amounts of all 4 of the gods in his detachment. So you have to have 1 Slaanesh, 1 Tzeentch, 1 Nurgle, 1 Khorne in a Be'lakor, Legion of Be'lakor Demons detachment. You cannot outnumber. You can't.
So
have,
basically, if you've got 10, so you have to have 1 unit of bloodletters, 1 unit of plague bearers, 1 unit of horrors, 1 unit of demonettes, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
To run Be'lakor as Disciples of Be'lakor. So don't get me wrong, it's strong. So like I think if you can, I think there's an argument to be made that rules as written it does stack. So you could get -2 plague bearers if you have a unit of 20, -2 to hit. Which is something that they desperately need, but because of the way 9th edition works now, you can't get it.
Is this? Are we talking 40k here?
Yeah, this is 40k.
Right. I thought you was talking Sigmar there, and I was going, ooh, because I keep hearing that Legion of the First Prince is just disgusting.
Oh yeah, no, Legion of the First Prince is really good in AOS. Now, Disciples of Be'lakor in 40k, Legion of the First Prince in AOS. Disciples of Be'lakor is really strong in thingy, and it's because you don't have half as many restrictions. You can take whatever you kind of like in in Legion of the First Prince. You can take greater demons, and they will benefit from the Disciples of from the Legion of the First Prince rules in AOS.
Yeah, I don't know if I've not really read the rules on it, but taking away all their personal magic and stuff and replacing it with the only spell that Be'lakor's group has is, I don't know if I'd call that a benefit or not.
It's not so much a benefit, no, but like there are myriad benefits to taking it as Legion of the First Prince, because you do get to do that mix and match. So you can you get all the abilities of it if what you want to do is mask the I don't know, let's say mask the holes in your Khorne Demons army with Zangor Skyfires, for example.
Oh, I've got Zangor Skyfires. I've also got Enlightened on disc. I just don't really know what to do with them.
They are very, very good. Skyfires in particular. Well, they're not as good as they used to be, but at the tail end of first edition, they were probably the best unit in the entire game. Because they were like 50. It was like 100 points for 3. Ridiculous. It's absolutely obscene. They were so strong, so strong. I don't quite know why, Alex, but your message of sub-assemble was held for review. I've shown it now, but it was held for review on YouTube for some reason. No idea why. Subassemble must be an offensive term to those at YouTube. Right.
That's just crazy.
I've not added it to my my filters or anything like that, which I discovered I can do on YouTube comments.
Yeah.
I can just be like, that goes straight into the moderator bin if someone says XYZ. So I've done that rather than having to manage that myself.
Always nice when you can do that.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Funnily enough, you paintings actually made me want to tinker around with a few models. I'm just finishing one of my October projects.
Very nice.
Yes.
What is it?
Yeah. I'm working. I won't say it out loud publicly. I'll message you it privately.
Okay.
No, it's because I'm aiming to get this done by the end of October.
Yeah.
Paint order permitting.
Nice.
I'm trying to push myself a little bit within the hobby.
That's always what I like to hear.
And once I've built this one, I'll have one more box to build and a rider for a big beast.
Very cool.
It's just another small AOS army.
just another small one.
Yeah, I know. The missus looked at me like I was mad when I told her I wanted to do them. She was like, "Grr, what are you doing?"
I was asked the other day, how many models are there typically in an Age of Sigmar army, and I was like, do you know what? I actually don't know now, because of the list, because of the way things have changed. Like you know, for those like horde armies
are destroyed.
Horde armies are struggling because they can't reinforce, and things like that.
Well, they can, but it's so. Let's say you were taking Gloomspite, for example.
Yeah.
You'd be able to have four basic battle line units reinforced once. If you want them to their maximum size, which is double reinforcement, you'd only get 2 units.
Yeah, which is just not great.
Nope.
So I suspect in the battle terms or whatever, it is going to change. Although it didn't, did it, in Auric Warclans?
I don't know, because I've not actually looked at the Auric Warclan book. All I know is that you've got 3 factions now, plus the ability to make the big war. So technically you can run 4 armies out of that book.
Yeah.
Which sounds scary.
Yeah.
The big war is just, I think, is going to be lethal. Being able to mix the hard hittingness of an Iron Jaw with the sneakiness of a Cruel Boy, that's just going to be
to give you an Iron Boy or a Cruel Jaw.
Exactly. It's such a scary idea.
But I love it.
Oh, I'm in love with it myself.
It's like when the Legions of Nagash book came out.
Yeah, God rest that book's soul.
It was a dead exciting time for Death. And then all the Death factions got their own battle tomes, so, it wasn't too bad. But, like...
Yeah, I mean... Soulblight, I would say, is probably the closest to Legions of Nagash, because it does try to link in some units, but there are some units that you can't no longer use, and it kind of destroyed my entire Legions of Nagash army that I had.
Oops.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I've just got, a copy of Dominion, copy of Octarius, copy of Cursed City, with a few other bits and pieces.
Just a
I've got
few
enough
bits.
games to keep me amused.
Just a few bits. I've got 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 pink horrors with the pink on. I've got 3 left because I'm saving 3 for the tutorial. The 3 other ones with the banner and the instrument. And the iridescent horror? Yes. The iridescent horror.
That's the champion.
Yes. So... just 3 left to go for getting the pink on. And then there's a lot more to do.
So the pink for the horrors is obviously Velupa's pink.
Yep.
I'm assuming you thinned it down with contrast medium or Lamian?
Contrast medium, yeah, 4 parts.
So that's what, 4 brushes worth of contrast medium to 1 brush of
Velupa's pink. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm assuming it then goes. Is that just the base coat, and then you wait till all that's dry and you start doing all the other details before you get onto the pink highlights?
That's correct. Yeah. The one I originally did. So I've done 1 pink horror. So I've actually only got 19 to do. So it's much more manageable. But you know, of the 19 that I've got left to do, so the first one. It wasn't as thinned down as I thought it would be because I only did like 2 parts contrast medium to 1 part, and it wasn't quite bright enough. So I did end up having to layer up all of the skin with Fulgrim pink, which again didn't take very long. It was just doing it. So I've gone for a thinner thingy this time, and I'll do the Fulgrim pink layer on it again, but I think it'll be a little bit easier now that the pink's a lot paler than it was last time. But yeah, so. When I figured out the scheme, it was thinned down Velupa's pink all over. Then it was Fulgrim pink as a layer over all the muscles and all the raised areas. And then it was a little spot highlight just on the sharpest points of like the most eye-catching muscles. So like on the arms and the hips and the face. Doing a highlight of pallid witch flesh over the top of that. Gives you that proper GW pale pink horror scheme that they have on the box art that I very rarely see. I always see very dark pink horrors. I don't rarely see the very bright ones, but yeah, we've gone for very bright pink horrors. So that's the flesh recipe, and then from that point on, it's really easy because it's just like we put Agaros dunes on the teeth and on the horns of very little few that there are. It's then a Uriel yellow for the eyes. And then a mixture of very, kind of up to the eye of the beholder, right? But like Iron Hand Steel and Rune Lord Brass for all the metallics. And once you've done that, that's the Warhipster Battle Ready method. Then from that point onwards, you can obviously layer it up more and shade it down a little bit more, which of course I will do. But yeah, it's exciting. It's a very simple scheme. It's very effective. It's just going to take a few hours to get 20 done.
Isn't it always what they say about the simplest plans of mice and men are always the best ones?
The best laid plans of mice and men, yeah. Something like that,
yeah. Yeah, you knew what I meant.
Yeah, I get you, I feel you.
I'm probably going to get slapped for butchering English philosophy, but...
Oh, yeah.
English, but yes, I realised I said it. Do you know, I'm just looking at my Indrasta. I've got so much work to do on that.
I love painting her.
I don't know where I want to go with it. That's why I think I left it for as long as I have.
Painting her, for me, was like a crazed fever dream of an evening. I was just enjoying it so much. I was like, oh, this model, oh, this model, oh, this model, as I was doing.
I will say it's one of the very few Stormcast models that I really like.
Yeah.
I'm not a great fan of the Stormcast range.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
I mean, the Star Drake, the face is what's wrong with that model. Otherwise, it is a beautiful model.
Yeah.
And I feel very much the same about possibly the new dragons. I love the face of one of them, but the other face just looks so wrong. It's just like, oh, please.
Is that Krondys and Karazai?
Yeah.
Rather than the Stormdrake Guard, I want to say they're called.
See, I can see them taking the contrast method of your painting so well, the models.
Oh, for sure.
Just that face on the one that's been painted blue. I do not like that face.
It does remind me a little bit of Dragonheart.
Someone showed me a meme of it where it looks like something out of Spyro the Dragon.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Right, well, that's the final one of that unit done. Hooray. I have a full 5-man unit built.
There is a lot to be said about the calming, relaxing nature of mechanically putting down the same paint on a bunch of miniatures. Especially after the last 3 miniatures that I've fully painted are the Lord of Change, the Keeper of Secrets, and the Contorted Epitome.
The Contorted Epitome, what a model.
I know. I know, but...
Do you know, right, I found a... Now, yes, okay, I used an airbrush to lay it down, I'm not going to lie. But have you ever tried using fluorescent paint through an airbrush?
No.
Well, I did on some Slaaneshi Seekers.
Okay.
And my God, they look like they've been hit with contrast paint. They just look so vibrant and really bright. I will take a photo of them and send them to you just so you can have a giggle.
I would like to have a look at those, yeah.
But they do look funny. I will say that. Where is the paint that I want?
I've just been asked a question. Would you rather paint 20 Poxwalkers or 20 Pink Horrors? I would rather paint 20 Pink Horrors at the moment. Once I've finished 20 Pink Horrors, it might change to Poxwalkers. But at this current juncture, I would much rather paint 20 Pink Horrors. Poxwalkers are lovely models, but they are so much more detailed than they need to be.
Yes, totally agree.
And I am a sucker for doing details. Like, it is one of my biggest faults. I couldn't just rush job and paint a Poxwalker because I love the models and I have to do so much work to get them to look how I like them. So when I was doing them for the Death Guard Combat Patrol video, I was like, God. Like, I was like,
how many Poxwalkers do you get in that box?
You get 20 in that box. Get 20 Poxwalkers, 7 Plague Marines, and Typhus. Oh, and a Noxious Blightbringer? No, not a Noxious Blightbringer.
Foul Blight Spawn?
No, what's the one with the grenades? I think it might be a Noxious Blightbringer, actually.
Noxious Blightbringer is the one with the bell on its back.
No, not that one. Oh, God, what's it called? The one with the rack of jars on its back.
O's.
Biologus Putrefier.
Ah.
I think it's the Biologus Putrefier. I think you get both of those in that box. Biologus Putrefier, yeah, Zombie Monkey has just saved me there. Yeah, the Biologus Putrefier. That is my favourite thing about making videos for YouTube, is when I don't know the names for things. And I'm petrified that I'm going to do a video one day on a big box where I'm just going to be so confident that it's called one thing, and then I'm going to look back at it and go, oh no. So I'm like, we're going to be painting the Noxious Blightbringer. It's not what it was called. What was it called? It was called the Biologus Putrefier. Oh God, there's a 40-minute video of me calling it the wrong thing for 40 minutes. Oh God. What have I done?
That'll just go down in the Blooper Hall of Fame. You know it will.
You get 30 Poxwalkers, not 20. You get 30 Poxwalkers in that box? Do you? Did I just not build 10? Oh God, maybe I didn't. I'm off now, guys. Got tournament London Open tomorrow. Good luck tomorrow, Mikey's Wargaming.
Yes, good luck, Mikey.
We've
bring some more souls back to Comera.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he's talked about going to that for ages, and I wish you all the luck in the world. Bring home the win for Team Warhipster. Not that you're there as Team Warhipster.
Do you play a lot of tournaments yourself, or?
I did in 8th before the pandemic.
Right.
And then the pandemic hit. And then a bunch of the tournaments I was going to obviously got cancelled, so I got refunds on all the tickets. And then I just wasn't fussed about going to them. I want to get back into it, but obviously not as much as I did last time. Just because tournament play is fun, but it's not fun. It's exhausting weekend.
I keep getting people trying to convince me to do tournaments.
They are fun. They're not something that I'm too old for it now to go every weekend. At least that's how my hips feel. It's been good for my blending practice, says Zombie Monkey. I did not know you get 30 in that bloody box. Maybe I just didn't build 10 of them. That's terrible. Oh no, did I do? Oh, I can't remember now. It's been ages. Apparently you're supposed to be able to paint the whole model in basic contrast paints, or that was the theory. You can paint the whole of the Poxwalker in contrast paints. I did most of mine in contrast paints. It's just things like the metallics and stuff that you want to pick out. The thing with Poxwalkers is that whilst you could paint all 30 of them in that box the same flesh colour, I didn't want to do that. And it was at that point that I got exhausted trying to... I came out with... I think it's... In the video I do 4 different skin colours, maybe? 4 or 8. It was a lot. There was a lot of different skin colours. And that's what killed it for me. And then it's coming up with all the variation of... Because I didn't want to have everything have the same orange boiler overalls. And I didn't want everything to have the same black trousers. Which was just... that was what the exhausting part was. I've done the pink. Well, I've done the first layer of pink on a lot of pink horrors. No, 16. 18, 19, 20. Yeah. Oh, it's a lot of pink horrors. Man, last week was a busy week.
But once this is all done, I guess you can sort of kick back and relax a little bit.
Yeah. I really want all of this done by Monday, so I'm not panicking by Wednesday, Thursday that I'm not going to get it done in time.
That's understandable.
The biggest time sink at the moment is the Lord of Change. That is the one that's, I've still got... It looks like it's nearly there. I know it is, but it also isn't.
The Lord of Change is... It's a beautiful model, but it's one of those that you've got to really put some thought into how you want to do it.
Yeah.
Because the wings are the big standout point on that model.
Yeah. So I've finished the wings. What I've got to do now is I'm showing it to the guys on YouTube. What I've got to do now is so I've relayered all the gold with Liberator Gold. And I've now got to do some spot highlights with some Canoptek alloy. Once that's done, there's then the silver of the sword to do. Then there's the staff to highlight. There's the armor to highlight. And there's these kind of balls of magic energy at the top here that just need a couple of extra highlights. And then there's all the gems and the eyes to do. There's not loads left. It's just there's lots of not loads.
There's lots of finicky detail is what I think you're trying to say.
Yeah. And that's what it's been like painting the whole thing all the time. That is outstanding, says Marty C. Thank you very much, Marty.
I remember when you posted the picture up, the first look that came out of my mouth was, oh my god, that's beautiful. And I think I was the very first person to comment on the picture.
I think you might well have been, yeah. We've also got this one, which I'm just going to show YouTube, and then I'll show Instagram as well. So there's this one as well, which is absolutely stunning. I keep looking at this going, oh my god, I'm a good painter. So it is the Keeper of Secrets. There it is.
Oh man, that is pucker. I've yet to get any. I've got to get like 3 of them.
Yeah. So I did this one in a day. This one was done in a day. And afterwards I thought I was going to die. But yeah, no, so the Keeper of Secrets took a day. The Lord of Change has taken 2.5. Well, it will, I think. I think I'm going to get it finished later tonight, after this. But there they are together for everybody on YouTube. The Keeper and the Lord of Change. We've got a Bloodthirster as well, but I can't hold 3 Gator Demons at once. And there they are for everybody on Instagram.
Oh.
I'm going for that. I'm going for the 3rd best army at Goonhammer. That's what I'm going for. That's what I keep telling everyone. I'm going for 3rd best army.
I honestly believe that the way you paint, you'll probably come definitely within the top 3. But I would be very disappointed if you got below top 3.
So will I. After the last fortnight, I'll be crushed. But you know, beers and boards asks, hello there. Any new tutorial on the Black Templars with the new box arriving tomorrow? Yeah, so I'm planning to do the all of the Black Templar stuff, which will include a Redemptor Dreadnought. Thinking about it, so yeah, a black armored Dreadnought. That'll be the 3rd. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4th Dreadnought-sized vehicle, Space Marine vehicle. Well, 4th Dreadnought. So I've done an Invictor and 2 Redemptors now for the channel, so it'll be another one in the black. Planning to do all of those, so that'll include the Emperor's Champion and the Marshal as well. And then also planning on doing possibly Helbrecht and... Well, no, definitely Helbrecht and maybe Grimaldus as well. But as and when those things come out. Mark Watson says, oh my god, that is fantastic. Thank you very much, Mark. It has been a labour of love. I'll grab the Bloodthirster as well so everyone can see that. Because he was also last week. I keep forgetting. So here is the 3rd of the Greater Demons I've painted in this fortnight. So there's the Bloodthirster for everybody on YouTube. With his inexplicable pile of very, very specific skulls. And there is the Bloodthirster for everybody on Instagram.
Oh, you've done it as the Insensate Rage.
Oh, yeah.
I take it when you were building this, you sort of just went, I'll build what I fancy, I like the look of, or did you actually sit there with the book and design your army list before you built it?
I had the sprue in front of me, and I was looking at it, and I went, that axe. Oh, baby. So I was like,
yeah.
which one's the one with the big 2-handed axe? It's the Insensate Rage one. Okay, that's the one.
See, now you've done a normal Bloodthirster. I'm sitting there wondering, is there going to be a Scarbrand coming?
Am I going to do a Scarbrand?
Yeah.
I could do a Scarbrand at some point, sure. He wasn't too bad to do, to be honest. He just took a little while. It's because painting models of that size, well, of that height.
Yeah.
Specifically that height. The hardest part of them is edge highlighting the top of them, because you have the floating hand, is what I like to call it.
Okay.
Because, you know, when I paint a model, normally, I'm like this, right? That's my hand position generally. I'll use a brush that actually makes more sense. That is my position I'm in. So like my hand is in a nice, so if I'm painting, it's in a nice even position. When I'm painting a Bloodthirster, for example, if I'm trying, that's my normal hand position. When I'm painting, trying to, I either move this hand up or this hand down. So, and when I'm doing tutorial, and it's like we're gonna highlight the top, these things up here, like the talons and stuff. Normally, that's where I'm comfortable, is right down there by the knee. Going up here, my arm is way more extended for highlighting, so it just means it becomes a little bit harder. The alternative is to go further and further down the brush to the point of where you're using the tip, but then that becomes even more imprecise. Great stuff. I'll wait for the BT tutorials. Thank you for your help.
Just out of curiosity, when you're doing something like a Bloodthirster, how come you didn't decide to do the sub-assembly format and do the wings separately?
Because I'm a fool.
At least you admit it.
There's the Bloodthirster and the Keeper of Secrets together. There they are together.
See, I actually want to play against your demon army now.
Because it's beautiful.
But I want to play it in AOS terms.
Well, it won't all fit into AOS. I did it the other day and I was like, oh, it's 3,000 points.
Hey, if you want to do 3,000 points, I'll happily match you. That ain't a problem.
I don't think it's road legal for 3,000 points. I don't think it has enough battle line. I'd have to split everything. But, oh my god, that is fantastic. Thank you so much. Get a stick, says Gloomspite Noob. I should get a painting brush. A painting brush? A paintbrush on the end of a stick. Man, that Keeper of Secrets looks so dope, says Guitaro. Thank you very much, buddy. Reaper of the 14th says yee yee. Was that 14th,
I
Ivy?
think everybody, you know, when we always watch what you produce, you know, and this ain't me sucking up, trying to get favours or whatever. This is me just calling it as I see it. I think everybody generally takes something new from each of your videos.
Oh, thank you.
And, you know, it has kind of pushed me in a way to want to become a better painter. I mean, I don't think I'm a great painter, but I keep getting people telling me, oh, you do really nice stuff, and it's like, for me, I can't personally accept it.
Well, I'm similar in that regard. This is something that I am planning to do a video on, is just how hard it is to feel positive about your own painting. Because I struggle with it. I look at some of my models, and a lot of my Benjamin, who's a friend of mine that I have known since I was 6 years old, says, oh my god, Yoshi, those are amazing compared to art paint almost 15 to 17 years ago. And the rest, Christ. But yes, yeah, no, I've come a long way, Ben. I've come a long way in my time. But yeah, no, I have this, Gloomspite Noob says, yeah, imposter syndrome it's called. And he also says the stick he was recommending is to put on your desk and rest your wrist on, like you see painters use for canvas, not just for me to put a paintbrush on the end of a stick. I completely misinterpreted that. But yeah, no, I struggle sometimes with my painting because all of my stuff is based on, I have this thing of, I don't really paint for myself. Not really anymore. I mean, the demons are all for me, right? Don't get me wrong. But I put a lot of stuff out, and when it doesn't get received like I hope it will, it makes me think it's a bad job.
Right.
My default is to think that. So, for example, if I put the Keeper of Secrets out, if I put the video out, and it doesn't crack 1,000 plays in 24 hours, I'll think that I've done a bad job on that miniature. I know I haven't at the moment, the validation that I seek through YouTube, through Instagram, through whatever, it is a problem. Like and it is a mental struggle that I have to remember. I have to force myself to go, no, you have done a good job on it. It's just for whatever reason, the video or picture or whatever has not been received like you thought it would. Because there's two different Warhipsters, right? There's the confident one that's like, everything I do is incredible, and then there's the humble one who goes, I've put this model out, I've put this video out, no one really wants to watch that video, so clearly then that means then that like I just need to get better because like I've done a bad job on that model, and I struggle with that all the time, and I have to remind myself that what that guy is saying isn't true, because I do know, looking at that Keeper of Secrets, I'm looking at it and I'm going, it looks just like the one on the bloody box, it can't be bad, but if it doesn't do well, then I do have that moment where I go, oh no, maybe it's not as good, maybe I'm just missing something, is the other thing as well. Like maybe I think my models are better than I can actually see. Maybe I've gone, like if you stare at something for too long, or you say the same word over and over again, maybe I've looked at it so much that I think the quality of it is higher than it actually is. Maybe I've just deceived myself, and that is the weird roundabout thought process that goes into each one of my models, and it is a difficult thing because it's not the internet's responsibility to prove that I'm good at what I do. But I do need those people to, I do need subscribers, and I do need followers, because they're the ones that give me my income, and so it becomes this whole kind of Ouroboros type thing of, well, not that's probably the wrong thing, but it becomes this roundabout thought process of what have I done? What have I specifically done wrong?
Okay. Now, I have the flip side of that one, where I look at putting stuff up and I'll go, okay, but then I'm sitting there and I'm looking at people like yourself and other artists, and I have the whole, I can't, I'm not as good as them syndrome. So I understand exactly what you're saying. I have it from the other side, because I'm always comparing my stuff to like the heavy metal artists and stuff.
Oh, and I do that as well. I compare my videos to other, like it's like I compare my video to other YouTubers doing the same video, like I all the time. Like I go, well, I my video is just, it's a different thing, but it's like my video is just not as good as theirs, and it's hard. It is really hard to pump yourself up. Like I will put out currently at the moment on YouTube there is like 2 videos about how to paint Keeper of Secrets. There's very few videos about how to do it. But if I put my video out and I think it looks really, really good, I think the final product looks amazing, and it does all right. And again, it's a bad comparison, but if Miniac put out a video saying how to paint the Keeper of Secrets, 500,000 views.
Yeah, but is that because Miniac is so well established?
It is because of that. Yeah.
But I mean, I keep looking at the Keeper, and it is a model I really want to get, because me and my partner, we have a very big Slanesh army. I've shown you a fraction, I believe, of what I've got for Slanesh. I mean, we had two halves of Shadow and Pain. Plus I had something like an extra 30 odd Demonettes, a whole bunch of Seekers, I had some extra chariots and a few other bits and pieces, you know, and I absolutely went bananas because that's kind of how I got involved in the whole Team Warhammer 100 thing, because it was a case of trying to get my army painted.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's how me and you met originally, I think.
Yeah, it was.
we met on the Discord.
yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I find that when it comes to this hobby, because of the amount of talented artists out there, when you go to put something out, you kind of start thinking, am I going to get people not liking it? Am I going to get people who don't want to know about this hobby, you know? Or am I going to get people just writing nasty comments?
Yeah.
You know, and I'll be honest, it's disheartening. To the extent that there's a part of me that doesn't want to show my models off. You know, I mean, I'm currently working. Oh, hello.
Hello.
How are you, ADR Wargaming?
Oh, I'm alright. It's currently raining, but I'm alright. I'm sat outside under a big umbrella.
Are you
I can't be on. I am still in Toronto. I actually fly back tonight, so I can't be on for too long because I've got to finish packing and then get to the airport. But apart from that, I thought I'd join, say hello to everyone.
We're having a deep discussion. I'm just going to quickly catch up on the chat, and we'll go back to this.
Yeah,
but
man,
so the chat on YouTube said, it's a very true statement. I have taken a lot of ideas and skills away from watching your videos, Josh, despite my colour vision deficiency. Thank you so much, Marty. I'm glad I can help you. Bartos says, it's really about having fun with it. We all have an infinite capacity to complicate our work for ourselves, but apart from the inner struggle, it's all just about the good time and good people you meet, which I 100% definitely
Massively agree.
And Marty says, that's because we are all our own worst critics. You're a top class painter, Josh. No arguing against it. Thank you very much.
Also agree.
Katara then says, well, on the positive side, this is the reason you are improving so much. Well, in my opinion, contrast wise, you are the best one so far. I don't call you the Bob Ross of contrast for no reason. I only miss that we make happy little mistakes. Don't want to sound like a fanboy or anything, but goddamn, you are amazing. Thank you very much. Marty C also
lovely.
says, also 11.8 thousand people say your painting is amazing, and it is mind blowing that there are that many people out there who go, yes, this guy knows what he's doing, and this guy knows what he's talking about.
You know, you're doing something that's fairly unique in a lot of ways, right? Like, there's a lot of people out there that have painting tutorials. A lot of people out there that do, fantastic work with Citadel, with Scale 75, with all different colours. But I think you do have something unique in that what you can do with contrast. And I've said it before, and without kind of fanboying over you too much, because don't want to boost your ego too much.
No.
Your ability to look at particularly to look at like box art. You've not even box art, just like look at color schemes. And we've done this both. Obviously, people see it in your tutorials, and we've talked about it in private as well. Where you'll just look at something and go, "Oh yeah, that shade of brown or blue or black or whatever color it is," and you'll just go, "Yeah, I reckon 2 parts this to 3 parts that, and then a little bit of contrast medium," and you get it bang on. And it's that, I think, as well as obviously your skill with the brush, your actual ability to put paint on the model. That obviously is great. But it's just that ability to know colour in contrast and know how it works. And I was at a hobby store, not like 2-3 days ago over here, with a chap called Chris, who's actually won a couple of Golden Demons, so pretty good painter. And we were talking about your channel, talking about contrast generally, and he was like, yeah, I find contrast can be a little bit hard to work with for me because I'm used to doing the sort of like heavy metal style, right? That's what I'm used to. But I really like the paint, and he sort of talks about what you do, and he said he was going to check out your videos. So there we go. I'm growing your international audience for you. I've even got my cap actually. It's inside at the moment, so I won't go and get it. But I've got the little Warhipster cap that I've been wearing.
Wow.
You've been spreading the word. Lewis.
I've been spreading the good word.
Lewis R. Lamont has bought a badge. Thank you so much for buying a badge, buddy. Really appreciate it. We've got some more messages on thing. Marty says, if we ever meet at some point, I'm buying your beers.
Hey,
thanks,
look at
Marty.
that. You got free beers.
Katara says, well, he made contrast work in my opinion. I tried them and didn't like it until Josh showed me how to do it, and I can't stop loving it.
Well, I think so. I thought again when I was chatting with this guy Chris, he made a really good point, which is he said contrast is really good, but it was really badly advertised by GW.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you feel the same, Josh, but like the way that they advertised it and the way they talked about it is not how it works. Like if
you missed the whole conversation earlier that we actually had on this.
Yeah. Ignore me then. It's already been said.
No. To be fair, it's nice to have someone who's actually talked to a Golden Demon winner who can turn around and sort of voice his argument towards it, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. And to this day, it's still not marketed well. And this is why I'm really intrigued. I'm really, really excited for the Army Painters Warp Speed Paints. I am really excited for them because so far they have... Now, this is what's going to be interesting about the speed paints. Is so far all of the coverage that Army Painter has put out. There's not much they've put out. They've put out the here's what it is, and then they've put out it was quite a cool video. It said 7:47. That's how long it took to paint this miniature before this video was even finished. It was really cool. Really cool interview section. But what they were saying in that video was this is perfect for beginners. Now, what everybody did with contrast paints is they went, oh, well, let's test to see if this is good for beginners. And they just went, right, medium shade brush, fill it up, splot it onto a space marine and go, nah, that looks crap, and threw it out, and then went, these are terrible. Yeah. Now, if people do the same thing with the Army Painter paints, you're going to get the same. You are probably, and I don't know this for certain because I haven't got them yet, but you are probably going to get the exact same finish as what you got from contrast paints. However, I don't think people are going to do that with Army paints because, with the Army Painter speed paints, I don't think they're going to do it because Army Painter has a lot more. It doesn't have as many people who are just using it as an example to tear down GW.
Yeah.
And a lot of the videos I've seen about speed paints have gone, speed paint, is this the end of Games Workshop?
Yeah, but that's like everything's the end of Games Workshop. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go because my de facto mother-in-law has arrived home and we're going to have some dinner before I have to go to the airport. So I will say goodbye and hopefully, I will see you next weekend for our little trip up to Nottingham for Goonhammer, but no doubt we will also speak during the week and hopefully get another one of these Friday shows out. Which would be nice. Lovely to talk to you, Lord Virus and Nurgle, as well, of course.
Yeah, lovely to talk to you, my good sir.
Short and sweet, and I will be returning from North America promptly. So see you guys on the other side.
Yeah, see you soon, buddy.
See you soon.
DZTV Chewy says, not the mother-in-law.
No, she's lovely, so I can't say that. Bye, guys.
See you later, buddy. Right, we've got one more pink horror to put the pink on. I've just noticed, apart from the 3 that I'm going to do for the video. Josh needs to zoom out to keep your head in the shot. I know, I find it so difficult. Because my head is being currently used on 2 different camera angles. Oh, and Lord Virus of Nova has left as well. That's what he shows when she's in earshot. Quite possibly. I've never met her, so she might be nice. She might not be. Who knows? Although Kelly, his fiance, is lovely. So one stands to reason that the mother-in-law would also be lovely. Maybe. Who knows? But yeah. It's just me now. So if anyone, like I said, if anyone has any, we've been talking a lot tonight, but if anyone has any questions about anything Warhammer related, or even not Warhammer related, the fear is he logged off. I know what you mean. Oh God, I've been rumbled. Kyle Seeley says the comparison to contrast is definitely the angle the speed paint videos are taking. Contrast didn't do what we wanted. Will these? Yeah, I feel like that's really. I feel like there is a large. I think most of them, even if it doesn't do what they think that they want it to do, even if it is exactly the same as contrast, they're going to crown it the winner anyway. Just because they're determined to beat GW with a stick for some reason. That's a bit of a rough priming job that's been done on there, but never mind. It's pink horrors. That will all get picked up in the layer. It's been an interesting time. It has. Like I'm excited. I'm really excited for the speed paints. I think they look really cool, and competition for any product is always really good. I honestly like it. It's funny. It's like, why so determined to use any opportunity? Oh, it's for clicks, isn't it? It's nice to have different paints, right? Yes, Datsun 3507. Yes, Datsun. Bear Beers and Boards bought a badge. Thank you so much, buddy. Very much appreciated. How fast do you go through a can of Grey Seer primer? Asked Jack Mike Sell. Well, quite fast. But I go through it quite fast, but that's because I prime like 50, 60 models in a go. So there have been times where I've bought a can of Grey Seer primer and then it's all gone the day after, but that is just because I've got like I had to prime the whole of the Dominion set plus a couple of other bits as well, and you know I used a whole rattle can. Generally speaking, it shouldn't go like that, but you know I do have such an output of stuff to get out the door yeah, I do get through the cans quite quickly, but you know the volume at which I'm spraying is quite high. So I'm not like using a can of Grey Seer primer to get like 2 models done. I've almost got it down to the point where I can get like 132mm models primed with 1 can, which I think is pretty good going. But do you have any tips for painting pale skin, Warhipster? Yeah. So I've actually got a couple. So I did a tutorial on Lilith Hesperax. She's got very pale skin. She works. So that one would really help you for painting pale skin. There's also the... it depends what kind of pale skin you're after, though. I know it sounds like a silly... What are you painting? That might help me come up with a specific recipe for you. Iron Golems as well. That's a video I did a long time ago. They're very pale. I believe I did those with some thinned down Space Wolves Grey. I mean, it might not have even been thinned down. Just gonna get this one done. And then she'll catch up with both chats. And that Iron Golem video was so long ago. So long ago. So many moons. Nearly got it. There we go. Ooh. Missed a little bit there. There we go. Oh, sorry. Knocked the camera. My phone died. I did wonder, Mr. Nurgle. New question. How much time you spend painting the hidden areas on your minis? I'm finding quite time consuming, for example, trying to do the inner side of the sister's robe. Yeah, it's quite a difficult one. I think there's you really don't need, if it's not visible, sure, because when you prime with Grey Seer and Wraithbone, it will show you weirdly the not visible parts will be quite visible if you just prime them white. And so ultimately, like, you want to get the color down on them, but you don't need to sit and fiddle around highlighting them. Not really. If you're never going to be able to see it, once that base color is on, particularly on the inside of Sister's robes, it's quite dark usually. Once you've got a dark base coat down on those bits that are hidden underneath, you don't need to sit and highlight them. So I don't tend to spend too long on those sections. Just because, as you say, no one's ever going to see those bits. I do get the colour on, but yeah, quite often I don't spend typically too long on doing them. Of course, the other option is to sub-assemble them so that it's easier to get to those bits. So you end up spending less time doing that, but you end up spending more time in the build phase afterwards because you have to make sure you don't get super glue all over it. So yeah. Let's just quickly head over to the. I understand the anger at GW, but I don't care. It's a zombie monkey. Well, yeah, I mean, like, but even then, like, GW's never done anything that bad. They're not Enron or Shell or, you know, the Trump Foundation. You know, they're not a shady business. You know, it's not like they use their used sprues to club baby seals to death. Do you know what I mean? It's you know. It's expensive plastic toy soldiers, fundamentally, and it's entirely a luxury. Your videos really helped me unlock the potential of Blizzard. Yeah, Blizzard have got some quite suspect policies, and some bad stuff happened in recent times. They're a company that genuinely, like, I think, yeah, you can have some grievances with. That said, I will try speed paints. They look quite different from contrast paints from what I've seen so far. May serve useful purposes as well. Yeah, no, I'm really excited to try the speed paints. I will be committing a serious amount of time to them. I will probably do some. I might even do like a couple of videos that I've done before, but do it as speed paint plus. So I might like do something like I might paint a third Mephiston, for example. So that's contrast plus. We'll do speed paint plus with speed paints. I'm definitely going to commit quite a lot of time to them, I suspect. Hooray, I finally finished those bloody Deadwalker zombies from Curse City. Congratulations, bye. Yes, they do take quite a bit of time, the Deadwalkers. But at least now you've painted a set of the Curse City Deadwalker zombies. If you ever choose to start a Soul Blight army, you'll be able to paint lots and lots of Deadwalker zombies. Ever tried contrast over a Zenithor? I'm trying to think if I've ever seen you do that. I know you like to stick to pure Grey Seer or Wraithbone. Yeah, Be'lakor was done over a Zenithor. I don't something I typically do, but for something like him, yeah, I think he really works with the Zenithor. But it was quite a heavy Zenithor prime I did on him. But yeah, no, it really worked with kind of introducing even more shadow into the Lord of Shadows himself. Here's one for you. Just finished degreasing some Sisters of Silence, and since their models have quite few visible details so close to each other, like the inner parts of the cape and the armour, any tips on approaching this without having to waste hours on end on inevitable brush slips, etc.? Dreaded sub-assemblies, maybe. Yeah. I mean, the other thing for like things like cloaks is layering down rather than layering up. That can be something. So like. Something that I've quite often done with like Stormcast cloaks, for example, on my Hammers of Sigma Larissa Shadowstalker tutorial, is I gave the cloak a coat of, I want to say Talassar blue, I think it was Talassar blue, and then a layer of Ultramarines blue over the top. So making your way down the mini rather than starting at the base and layering up. It's actually a lot easier when you've got those hidden inside cloaks to layer down. So like, in fact, Sisters of Battle, when painting them, it's Flesh Terrors red all over, and then it's Cygor brown over the top of that, rather than you know, painting it with, for lack of a better example, corn red, or painting it the dark brown and then layering it up. You see what I mean? Layer your way down, glaze your way down rather than lay your way up. And that way you're just using lots of paint rather than trying to do precise edge highlights. That's definitely something that I would recommend for those hidden areas. I still have my original Warcraft 2 manual when they poached the Warhammer artists. Oh, awesome. I did pause to paint my nephew's Archaon though, but man, they seem to have taken forever. Oh, but your Archaon was beautiful. That was beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Oh, he is on my list of things to do. Archaon. Well, I need to do a Great Unclean one. So if someone wants to buy me a Great Unclean one, please do send it to me. Because that'll be the last of the Greater Demons. Be'lakor, Lord of Change, Keeper of Secrets, Bloodthirster, Great Unclean one. That's all 5. Undivided and all 4 gods. And then Archaon, Horbe, all Bulby. Bulby? Oh baby. Oh baby. I love that Archaon miniature. And I've got so many ideas on how to paint him. And he's massive! And I think he'd fit in my cabinet. I know he would on the top shelf. But on any of the other shelves, Archaon would not fit. He's so big. But yeah, it's a model I've always wanted to paint. Do you airbrush? If you do, what would be a step up from my Iwata Neo? I don't airbrush Warpstorm minis. I'm looking to get an airbrush, like a cheap one, like a you know, a very low level one. And the chat was helping me, and they gave me a few examples. So I'm just saving up the money to get one, and that will be to do like priming basically. But you know, I don't know. The chat would probably know more about what airbrushes to get as a step up from an Iwata. I hope I'm saying that, Iwata Neo. Does anyone know when the new Stormcast models are coming out? I want one of them new dragons so bad, says Jack Mikesell. Do you know what, at this point, I think, Jack, it's probably going to be that they will drop mid-November to the beginning of December. That would be when I would guess that they're going to come. The dragons kind of make a perfect Christmas release. Think of how many dragons they're going to sell as Christmas presents. I don't think they're not far away, but I think you're going to see them closer to Christmas than you are now, unfortunately. Because I'm desperate for them as well. I'm absolutely desperate for the new Stormcast. My Celestial Vindicators, for example, need 2 squads of 10 Vanquishers to, you know, because the Celestial Vindicators like to use swords, so we need to get some big units of sword-wielding dudes in there. And I really want the Vigilors, and I want the Stormdrake Guard, and I want Karazai, and I want Krondys, and I want Bastion Carthalos, because, oh my goodness, that is a model. That is a model. And I also feel like, having painted so many Chaos Demons in the last fortnight, I need some Holy Boys. I need the Holy Boys of Azir to fix me up. I think that's... Sorry, my phone died out. I've been painting my Custodes as it charged, says Bolt Rifles. No worries, buddy. Your Custodes are looking great. That teal against the gold, I knew it would work. I knew it would. I think it really works. It looks really good. For those of you who haven't seen Bolt Rifles on Instagram, go and check out his Custodes project that he's working on. He's done an excellent job. But yeah, so there we go. We got I mean, for those of you on the stream on YouTube, this is the finished product of the Pink Horrors. That's what it will look like. That's what they'll all look like eventually. Are you gonna build Bastion with his helmet on or off? I'm gonna build it with his helmet off, for sure. It's gonna be off. Definitely off. Unique head, isn't it? I always go for unique heads. If the face is a unique face, God damn right it's going to be on there. It's like the Primaris captain in Indomitus. And if Quipster is still here, which I saw him pop in for a second, he did the same thing. Is the pushed up visor. It's a unique head. Got to stick it on. But yeah, Bastion Carthalos, helmet off all day, every day. I'm so excited for him. His rules are absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous for Bastion Carthalos. It's the kind of thing that it's like, oh, why haven't the Stormcast always had something like this? But like, now you get it. Like, if the Lord Commander is, oh my god, just if he kills literally any models, he's returned to full wounds in the face. Repeatedly, over and over again. It's almost worse than Gotrek. Gotrek's bad, but like, oh man, like I'm just so excited for him. Like the Bastion Carthalos model is enough to make me actually do the Hammers of Sigmar army that I've wanted to do for a long time. Thomas Langham has become a member. Thank you very much. Welcome to the team, Thomas Langham. Welcome. You are a battle hipster now. Spend it wisely. Be one wisely? I don't know. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Just finished building the Knight Judicator and his bow is fantastic too. Oh, I know. He's down here. The Knight Judicator. There he is. Knight Judicator for everyone, for the folks at home. Knight Judicator here. This Knight Judicator is going to go into my Hallowed Knights because I have 2 units of 5 Judicators, and I feel like a Knight Judicator should lead them alongside Gardas Steelsoul. Gardas Steelsoul, yes. So yeah, he's going to go into my Hallowed Knights. This is going to go into my Celestial Vindicators, the Stormstrike Chariot, and that's for you guys there on Instagram. So yeah, I've got both of them, and I will do a video on both of these when I get to it eventually. I've also got the Beast Skewer Kill Bow, and I've got the Breaker Boss, and I've also got Gobsprak. So yeah, I do have these things in stock. It's just getting the time to do them because, and well, I'm going to show it one more time. We are still painting this guy, not on the stream because I'm filming this one for everybody and for all of you guys there at home as well on Instagram. There's a lot of change, but yeah, I'm basically Jack. I'm super hyped for Stormcast, and I'm so glad they haven't come out in the last couple of weeks because I don't think I would have been painting demons all this time. It would have been too much. It would have been too much for me. I wouldn't have been able to cope. I would have been like, yeah. But now that I've got the demons nearly finished, it's just these 21 miniatures. 21 miniatures left. And I will have a Chaos army that I can use finally across 40k and Age of Sigmar. How will you be painting their plumes? I want them to look like the blue, yellow, and white plumes of the Athenian helmets from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Oh, that's very cool. Let me have a look at that. Athenian Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Oh dear. See what that gives me in terms of images. Is there a particular image I should look at? Jack, as a reference. Something's complaining. Oh. It's my external hard drive. How will I be painting on which as well? Like, oh, on the Stormstrike Chariot. That's a good point. They'll probably be red. For the Celestial Vindicators. The politician's helmet in particular. Right, let's have a look at that. Politician's helmet. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Let's have a look. Oh yeah. Oh, I see. It's like a blue, white, yellow. Yeah, I mean, like, I think the thing to do for that is to paint the whole thing white. So do like is to do the whole thing apothecary white, and then use Yandan yellow and Macragge blue. Come on, Ultramarines blue to do the little stripes. And you can just basically, like, it might be a little bit counterintuitive to do this, but if you count up how many strands there are on each side, you can divide it by strands. So let's say that there's 25 strands. You can just divide that between 3, and that will be how many strands per things you want to do. Or if you want to do, like, say that there's 25 strands and you want to do like 5 gaps, you know then that you're going to do 5 gaps of 5 strands. And so you're going to go, and then you go, right, so blue is the first one, white is the second one, because I've already done that one, and then yellow is the third, and so on and so forth. That'd be how I would do it. It's just about counting it up and just kind of dividing it. You could do it by centimetres or millimetres, but come on now. That's a lot of work. Right. I think it is 22:22. It is late. I've got a lot of change to paint into the early hours of the morning. So yeah, I think we're going to call it there. So we've been going for 2 hours and 22 minutes. So yeah, happy Friday, everybody. Thank you very much for hanging out. Thank you so much on Instagram for those who've bought a badge. Thank you so much on YouTube for those who've joined as members. Very much appreciated. It's you guys that help keep the lights on around here and help keep the content coming. Alright, he's not in Canada. No. No. What time would it be there? 17:22? It's 5 hour time difference, right? No, all-nighter? Weak. Weak. You are weak. Yes, I am weak. Well, I mean, I'm gonna head off so I can finish the Lord of Change for you guys. I can't do it whilst I'm live. I need the camera. I need total silence as well. Great stream as ever, man. You always motivate me so much. Thank you very much, Harvey Painter. Happy to help. Happy to motivate. Glad you enjoy it. That's what I do it for. I have fun doing these as well. These are always great fun. And I broke the back of doing all the pink horrors. 17 of them to be precise. Well, 16 because I've already painted one. But 16 lots of pink in one session. That's pretty good going. So, thank you very much for hanging out. Thank you so much. I will see you all very, very soon. See you next week as Goonhammer approaches. Next week, next Saturday, it begins. And the demons shall eat the souls. Yes, there we go. That's it. We're over. I'm done. I'm going to go and lose my mind highlighting gold on the Lord of Change. So, have fun, guys. Happy wargaming. Have nice weekends to you too, Kataro. Have a good time. See you later. Thank you all so much for hanging out.